So today we're very happy to have our friend Bethel again with us.
Yeah.
Bethel likes to come and listen, hear about Krishna, and he likes the Krishna food also. So can you say hello to everyone, Bethel?
Hello to everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So today we're reading from Bhagavad Gita, 17th chapter, Varieties of Faiths, Foods and Sacrifices. Arjuna then placed another query. My dear Lord, please explain the effects of the three binding forces of mundane nature upon the faith of those persons who possess no great regard for the advices of the Holy Scriptures. The Supreme Person who possesses all forms of wealth, beauty, wisdom, prestige, potency, and loving compassion in abundance then replied, please listen carefully as I explain how persons who are embodied within a consciousness of the mundane develop a variety of faith and belief patterns differing from one another on account of the varying degrees by which each is affected by the purifying, the impassioning, and the darkening forces of mundane nature. The substance of all true theistic faith is pure goodness, and it is such faith that lies potentially at the heart of every person. Yet, according to the varied effects of the mundane energies, particular modifications occur, and different persons develop different faiths and belief structures, come to identify themselves as followers of different sects, and adhere to different worldviews. Those persons who are more heavily influenced by the harmonizing and purifying force of nature devote themselves to the worship of various divinities. Those who are under heavy influence of the energizing and impassioning force offer homage to wealthy and powerful materialists, worshipping a variety of heroes, and those who are under the spell of darkness worship ghosts or satanic beings. There is a class of persons who torment their minds and bodies by practicing too severe of an asceticism. They do this under the impulse of false pride, being unable to understand their true spiritual identity. In fact, it is the subtle force of their attachment to sense pleasures that moves them to such severity. You should understand that those who mistreat their bodies with the hope of spiritual attainment thereby mistreat me, the Supreme Person who dwells within the body, and therefore their behavior is in fact most ungodly. Listen further as I explain how persons adopt different diets and become attracted to different sorts of foods under the varying influences of the three mundane forces. Their tendency to carry out diverse religious liturgies, to perform various penances, and to give of themselves in charitable work are also affected by the ever-changing influences of modulating nature. As far as diet is concerned, there are certain foods which promote longevity, purify the blood, increase bodily strength, help to prevent disease, add to happiness, and bring about ever greater satisfaction. Such foods are filled with flavor, freshness, and natural vitality, and will prove pleasing even to the heart. Persons who are purified and in harmony with nature's force of goodness naturally choose such delightful foods when making up their diets. A taste for very bitter, very sour, or overly hot and spicy foods develops by the influence of the impassioning mode of nature. Passion also causes a person to eat foods which are unhealthy and disease-producing. It is under the spell of darkness that people become attracted to things with a putrid taste and smell, to decomposing meats and other untouchable foods. As far as attendance at the performance of divine liturgies, those who participate without any ulterior purpose and without any desire for mundane reward may be understood to be under the shelter of the purifying and harmonizing mode of nature. Those who attend religious services with a view to obtaining some mundane benediction or with a desire to secure social position and prestige do so under the impulse of the impassioning force, a most worthy heir of the dynasty descending from King Bharat. Those religious services which are performed without any reference to Holy Scripture, without the consecration and distribution of divine food, without the proper glorification of the holy names of the Supreme Divinity, without sacrifice of any of one's worldly possessions, and without genuine faith, take place as a result of the influence of the mode of darkness. Certain moral strictures are incumbent upon embodied souls. They should be active in service to the Supreme Person, to saintly persons, to their spiritual teachers, and to elders. They must keep themselves clean and pure within and without. They should be straightforward and honest in their dealing, should have sexual relations only within the sanctuary of marriage vows, and should never do any sort of violence to others. Furthermore, certain strictures apply to the use of the organ of speech. One should speak in a pleasing way, never causing offense to others, and exchanging endearing words with others in love. The names of the Supreme Person and the words of the Holy Scriptures should be often repeated as well. A certain discipline should be adopted in regards to the mind also. One should allow it to become satisfied by contemplation of lofty topics and never allow it to be duplicitous towards others. One should culture an inner earnestness appropriate to the serious nature of life. Meditating always on divine truth, one should bring calmness and serenity to the mind by thinking only of that which is pure and self-enriching. The purifying and harmonizing mode of goodness influences faithful persons to rise to the transcendental position, enlivens them to follow the appropriate moral codes, helps them to perfect their speech, and enables them to bring perfect equilibrium to the mind. Those who follow religious strictures with a view to enhancing personal prestige and gaining the adoration of others do so under the influence of passion. Such observances have no steady basis and therefore will not endure. Animalistic persons who torture their own bodies and minds through self-abuse or undergo penances with a view to harm others through occult means do so under the spell of darkness. The purifying and harmonizing influence of goodness leads one to offer gifts in charity to truly worthy persons and for good causes, duly considering time, place, and circumstances, and never expecting any reward or recognition. Those whose charitable work springs from an ulterior motive, such as desire for name, fame, or control, and those who give only out of obligation, although resenting having to do so, may be seen to be influenced by the impassioning mode of nature. Charity given to unworthy recipients who will use the gifts for unwholesome purposes, things given at inappropriate times or in the wrong place, and offerings made with an attitude of contempt for the recipient are all influenced by the effects of the mode of darkness, by which the soul is kept in ignorance. Since ancient days, the sacred syllables Om, Tat, and Sat have been used by the great professors of spiritual truth in the course of their performance of the divine liturgies prescribed in the Holy Scriptures. The Supreme Spirit has always borne such a triune designation. Therefore, at the onset of every religious ceremony, before every offering of charity, and at the commencement of a period of penance, those learned spiritualists who understand the codes of Scripture correctly first recite the holy syllable Om, which summarizes the absolute truth. Understanding the syllable Tat to indicate the all-pervasiveness of the Supreme Truth, those who are on the path to supreme salvation utter this sound in the course of their selfless performance of the divine liturgies and while carrying out their vows of penance. The giving of gifts and all of their other activities are animated by this consciousness of the interrelatedness of all existence and the absolute proprietorship of the Supreme Divine Person. My dear child of Prita, the eternal divine substance, which remains always transcendental to all mundane fluctuations, is referred to by the sacred sound Sat, as are all those saintly persons who seek for the good, the true, and the beautiful. Therefore, one should recite this holy and auspicious sound and contemplate the supreme objective. In the performance of all divine ceremonies, in the course of all penances and austerities, and in all voluntary and charitable works, one must contemplate the eternality of the spiritual substance and invoke the supreme truth. Persons who are without faith in the Supreme Divine Person and the sacred quality of life may offer gifts in charity or perform some acts of sacrifice, but such works will bring about no substantial benefit, either in this life or the hereafter, and are of no real value in absolute terms because they are without any eternal significance. So I'd like to read also today from an article with Srila Prabhupada,
Okay.
in which we'll get some very interesting information. Srila Prabhupada is the spiritual master of the whole universe, so that means that his knowledge is perfect, and we can trust him. We can trust him, to give us guidance.
Yes.
Our position is that we're like a patient in the hospital. We have a disease. What is that disease? The real disease is that we do not love Krishna.
Sure.
That's the big disease, yeah. So that means that we have all kinds of poison
Sure.
in the body. What is that poison? Lust, anger, greed, envy, jealousy, all of these things are poison, toxin inside the body, in the heart. So those things are very poisonous, very poisonous. They're unhealthy. So if we now have come to the Supreme Doctor, Krishna, and he's pure devotee, he's the representative of Krishna, they can make us well. They can make us well. If we accept their instructions and the medicine, if the patient is diseased, he needs a good medicine, a good diet. So that medicine, that diet is coming from the pure devotee of Krishna, the saint. He's not diseased. He loves Krishna. So how can we become lovers of Krishna? That is necessary. He knows how to make that happen. So the poison, the toxin has to be removed. Otherwise there's still sickness in the heart. So the unwanted desires, lust, anger, greed, envy, jealousy, all of these things, those poisons, they need to come out. They need to be removed. And then we will have the pure heart, where we only feel one thing. We feel love for all beings. We feel love for Krishna. Nothing else, No other unwanted emotions. They are so troublesome, those emotions. They're very troublesome. So by following his instructions, by taking the medicine, especially the medicine is the mantra, the holy name. Because the Lord is the name. And the Lord is pure. So if you're impure and you contact that which is pure, you become pure. You know that example with the sunshine? The sun is pure, and it can purify anything. In some very, very dirty place, the sun will shine, it will make it pure. So we need the contact, that's all. Keep the contact, So we're fortunate because we've understood what is our problem. Our problem is not that I don't have a nice job. My problem is not that I don't have a beautiful nose. My problem is not that I don't have a big bank balance. Those are not my problems. What is my problem? The problem is I've got poison inside me. That's my problem. So the saint, the guru, he's a perfect doctor. He can give you a perfect diagnosis. What is your problem? Your problem is you don't love Krishna. And therefore you've got all kinds of unwanted thoughts, unwanted feelings going around. And they are with you all the time. That is your problem. So he gives the good diagnosis and then he says, all right, now here's the medicine. So the first thing is we have to accept the diagnosis. You know, if you go to a good doctor and he says, this is what's wrong with you, and you say, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Goodbye,
Yes.
and you walk out the door.
Yeah.
How's that going to help? Huh?
No, not
Are you going to get better?
No.
You can't get better.
No.
So the first step is to accept the diagnosis that I have the good fortune that I've found a top-class, first-class doctor, soul doctor, not an ordinary doctor, soul doctor,
So that,
top class, first class, and he understands perfectly what is the problem, and he's got the perfect treatment and medicine.
yes.
And I believe him. I believe him. That's the thing. Do I believe him? Do I trust him?
That's right.
Yeah, that's the thing. But if you're fortunate and you think, all right, my mother is not the problem, my father is not the problem, my brother is not the problem, my wife's not the problem, my boss is not the problem, I'm the problem. I'm the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to think like that.
Yes.
They're not the problem. The problem is inside me.
Inside, yeah.
Yeah. If you can accept that, it's not so easy, because we don't like to think that I'm not perfect.
Yes.
We like to think I'm 100% perfect. I've got no mistakes. I'm perfect. I'm beautiful. I'm wonderful. Everything is perfect about me. We like to think like that, isn't it? We don't like to think that I'm less than perfect.
Yeah, less than perfect. Yes.
Yeah. Of course, the soul is perfect. That's true. But when the consciousness of the soul becomes impure, then my consciousness is not perfect. So if I can accept that, yes, this is true. It is true. The problem is not out there. The problem is here. If I can accept that, then I can take the medicine, the instruction. So we are fortunate. We have found the first-class soul doctor. Top class. Yeah. Very, very fortunate. Because you can go to so many other so-called doctors and they'll take your money and they'll take everything and they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, they just take it.
Oh, and you get very sad and disappointed. They cannot help you. Either they want to cheat you or they just don't know. I don't need a doctor like that in my life. I need a top class, 100% honest man, very wise. And we found him, Krishna's representative. So we're very fortunate. Now we must just believe what he says. He knows everything. And then follow. If I want to get free of the problems, that's how to do it. And what do? You hear from him. So we're going to hear now from Prabhupada, top class soul doctor.
Okay.
So this is an article called The Most Practical Scientific Understanding. This is a conversation between His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and biochemist Thudan Singh, PhD, took place in Bhubaneswar, India on February 3rd, 1977. Srila Prabhupada, this spiritual science is not beyond science. It is the ultimate science. Vijnanam, the most practical scientific understanding. On the one hand, you have Jnanam, purely theoretical understanding, like that of the big modern so-called scientists. They theorize how matter is working and how the material body is working, but they do not know how the soul is working, how he is living in the material body and controlling the material body. They do not even know their own selves. On the other hand, you have this Vijnanam, which is not only theoretical, but also practical. It is practical knowledge that you realize and understand in your own life. Knowledge of who you are, apart from your temporary material body, knowledge of your actual spiritual identity, and how to return at life's end to the spiritual world. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna affirms, Jnanam teham savijnanam idam vaksham asheshataha. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. So this spiritual science is not beyond science, it is the ultimate science. Explain it nicely, then the Americans and the whole world will understand. Dr. Singh, yes, honest, fair-minded scientists can help in this effort. Srila Prabhupada, oh yes, you can go to the universities and talk with them. Present this spiritual science through scholarly writing and debate. Formerly, learned scholars used to travel and do that. In Sanskrit, it is called Digvijay. The scholar makes it known. I have this knowledge, then he challenges. Come on, you defeat me or I defeat you. And whoever is defeated becomes a student of the one who is victorious. In any event, in India, this was the system. You go out and travel all over the world, and if you are qualified to speak, those with opposing views must come forward to defeat you. Or, if they are defeated, they must become followers. They must make proper acknowledgement. At the present moment, the world needs strong spokesmen for this spiritual science who can go forth and convince skeptics. Dr. Singh, a few months ago, several of us who feel strongly about what you are saying visited MIT, the Massachusetts Institute for Technology. Srila Prabhupada. Oh, MIT. Shortly after my arrival in America, I went there and challenged them. You have so many departments of technology. Where is the department that teaches this technology? How to bring someone from death back to life? Dr. Singh, at MIT they have a big department of artificial intelligence. So we went just to see what they were doing. First, they weren't going to allow us in. They didn't want us there. Then we beseeched them. We've come from far away and we are interested in mathematics and computer science. We'd simply like to know a bit about this artificial intelligence you are pursuing. Finally, they allowed us to come in, and a PhD candidate in computer science showed us all the various labs they had. Srila Prabhupada, a huge arrangement. Dr. Singh, yes. Then we started talking about intelligence, what intelligence actually is. We had a round-table discussion, and this PhD candidate was telling us that by artificial intelligence, they mean that in the future, they will have cars and airplanes driven without drivers or pilots, that kind of thing. We pointed out that for true intelligence, there must be consciousness. There must be a spirit soul. Srila Prabhupada, yes. That autopilot business can be done. They have been doing it for some time already. For instance, for years they have been launching satellites, and those satellites operate at great distance from Earth, often largely with automatic mechanisms, with a kind of artificial intelligence. So the satellites have no actual intelligence. The actual working intelligence is to be found in the people who design and control the satellites, not in the satellites themselves, but in the laboratories and control rooms, in these various people, these conscious spiritual beings. Dr. Singh, yes, that is precisely the point. So we told the PhD candidate, this expression, artificial intelligence, the expression itself is wrong, a misnomer, it shouldn't be used. Intelligence implies consciousness, a soul. No consciousness, no soul, no intelligence. Srila Prabhupada, that is correct. Dr. Singh, these people have many plans and they have many dollars to spend, perhaps millions on a department with only 35 professors and 22 graduate students. Finally, this graduate student admitted that they had been trying to do so many things, but they are mostly failing in so many ways. Srila Prabhupada laughs. Dr. Singh, and then I said, why are you spending so much time like this? The graduate student said, we do some work, but it's mostly for fun, to get money. Srila Prabhupada, just see what rascals they are. Dr. Singh, they have to keep themselves busy doing something, otherwise they'll have no income. Srila Prabhupada, that is their position, quote-unquote artificial intelligence. They do not even know who they are. and they are keeping the whole world in darkness. They have no intelligence. Still, they pose themselves as intelligent and draw money. That's all. Posing themselves as intelligent amongst the fools and taking money from them. This is what is going on. So yeah, that's our society. We, you have the so-called leaders and the professors,
Yes.
and people are accepting that, yes, these people know what, they've got big department, professors, at the university.
Yeah.
And they're writing big articles, yes,
Sure.
in the journals and the magazines. So they must know what they're doing, they're scholars,
They must know.
But what is this, Like Prabhupada says, they don't even know who they are. He doesn't know that I'm the soul. So how can you call that science? What they're doing? It's not science.
It's not science,
There's no understanding, of the living force inside the body. Where does the living force come from? Nothing like that. So how are they going to help anyone? They're in what they're doing. They're getting a big paycheck every month.
Every month.
And who's paying that? The taxpayer. And what are they doing? Oh, how are they helping? What is the information that they're giving us? Useless. So the whole society is like that. All crazy.
Oh, sure.
Why? Because they're all sick. They've all got the disease. They don't love Krishna. They don't know that I'm the soul. So everyone is sick, diseased. And only Krishna and his pure representatives can make us well. A man can say, I'm a big professor, I'm better than you, you're just ordinary people, look at me, I've got a PhD, you must respect me, I can solve your problems.
Yes.
No, he can't. He's a cheater. As Prabhupada says, he's a cheater. So we need to have this good intelligence, that what is my problem? Don't worry about other people's problems.
Yes.
What is your problem?
Yes.
And don't try and fix other people's problems.
Yes.
You start with yourself. What is my problem? And then how can I get it fixed? That's our only business. You've got your own life.
Yes.
As Prabhupada says, everybody's got to fly their own airplane. Nobody can fly your airplane for you.
No.
And what is the problem? The problem is that I don't love God. I don't love Krishna. So if we can get that understanding and say, okay, at least now I've understood what is the problem. If I solve that problem, all the problems are solved. No more birth, no more old age, no more disease, no more death. Happy life with Krishna. What can be better than that? It's first class. There's a perfect solution, not an imperfect solution. Just like in our world, you go to a doctor, he'll give you some pill to fix the cough or the cold or the headache, but then it's got side effects. So you do one thing and then another thing comes. So it's not a perfect solution, even for the body. What to speak of the soul, the spirit, that they don't know nothing about. So we have to go to a specialist, a soul specialist.
Yes.
Otherwise you're wasting your time in this world, wasting your life. Because this life, human life, has the potential to make a permanent solution to all your problems. Permanent solution, what is that? Finish up with this material world and become pure lover of Krishna. Finish up. Finish up. Why do you want to stay here more times? How many times have you been here? Thousands and millions.
Thousands.
Different bodies, cats, dogs, camel, ass. Why do you want to come back now? It's finished now. Why not finish up? It's enough now. It's enough. It's enough. How much more do you need of this nonsense? No. So we're fortunate if we understand that. And then it's going to take dedication, you know. Even in the material world, you know, you want to become a doctor or a lawyer, you got to 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you go to university, study, you got to work hard, isn't it? Why shouldn't we understand that I've got to work hard for spiritual life? It's going to take hard work, daily work. Not that I work for 1 day, 2 days, and then 6 months I'm doing no spiritual work. How's that going to help?
No, it's not good.
It's got to be steady. It's got to be steady. And especially people that are steady can help you be steady. That's why you got to stay with them, you know, like that. So this is our business. We don't have any other business. We don't have any other business. Just soul business.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.